And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Romanticide LE, we have the Chinese Terran player representing Kai Z Gaming. It is time.
Oh boy, nice to be back on the Chinese server.
Is it nice?
Well, this is India, in the Asia server.
Definitely. I also like what you said as well, that you almost got caught in a trap. It feels it's like a web of deceit. Like if you get stuck like looking at the text above the minimap, then you get lost there, mate. There's no coming out of it.
You really do. You need to zoom out. You need to be like, wait, okay, what's this minimap? All right, there's purple. What map in the current map pool is purple?
Yeah.
Nightshade. No, that was last season. Light shade. No, that's not purple.
Like the text, it like draws you in, and then you can't look away, and then your brain turns off, and you can't like. it takes a moment to realize what's going on. But yes, of course, we are on Romanticide, and I'm excited and I'm scared because obviously we always cheer for the underdog here. You know, we've seen ReWhite do well, but against time, I don't know, mate.
Yeah, especially on a map which is kind of time's element. Romanticide lends itself very, very well to Terran drops, mine drops especially, that we see time and time again from Mr. Lee Payne on.
We do.
This is... I'm definitely as worried as you are for ReWhite here, Light.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things where ReWhite has nothing to lose and everything to gain, I guess. You know, he's up against time, and I was mentioning it earlier, even taking a map off of a player like time is incredibly impressive, but we'll see if we get there because the openers are relatively standard, other than time going for a bit of a proxy starport.
Yeah, when it comes to the Terran proxies and TVP, I feel like this is probably the most standard one. It's the one that's least unorthodox out of all of the proxies Terran can pull.
Oh, it really is. Unfortunately, ReWhite is denied entry into the main base, so he doesn't know that the starport is missing, doesn't know that there is a proxy somewhere out of the map. Does have a spotted pylon towards the south, not here towards the north.
Yeah, it's definitely worrisome. I think he saw a Hellion or two, though, so that might be a little bit of a tip-off for him.
I would hope so, as the Hellions are moving out across the map, looking to meet up with this medevac to dive into the natural, to dive into the main base, even to wreak havoc. Meanwhile, we do at least have some adepts here to, I guess, like, deals, or at least help with the defense. But, here we go. Medevac, it's soon about to finish up. Meanwhile, ReWhite is working on Blink.
Ooh. Again, very versatile opening from the Protoss player. Going to be especially useful in the defense, though.
If he has Stalkers.
Well, I'm assuming he's eventually going to get Stalkers. Nice use of the dead space here in the main base. Not a position ReWhite thought he was going to get dropped on. 10 probes have already gone down, and 3 Hellions are still alive. 15 in total, like 15 in total. Can ReWhite come back from this?
Oh god, I don't know, mate. Like, this is what I was worried about as the probes line up and even more go down, is that he had adepts to defend, not necessarily stalkers, and they weren't in position. He wasn't ready at all whatsoever for this drop. And the scary thing is that 3 of the Hellions still survived.
They can still cause a massive ruckus. And I'm looking at a work count right now, lad, and seeing that it's 25 versus 30, not that big of a difference. But I'm not sure how many times you can really emphasize. This is time we're talking about. You give him an inch, you give him the slightest advantage, he's gonna take a mile.
Exactly, like how low these Hellions are. 1 HP on one of them, 2 HP on the other. Finally, they are being focused down, but an additional 7 workers go down. 24 in total for only 4 Hellions.
That was a Terran wet dream, I gotta tell you. This is why I love watching time.
Oh god, exactly. You can do so much with so little. Meanwhile, ReWhite, you were mentioning it earlier, he is now essentially all in. He has to deal devastating amounts of damage here across the map. He does have Blink, he does have high ground vision, but we already have a tank in production. The second tank is on the way. Once that comes out, like, there's no way this deals damage.
Yeah. I mean, best case scenario I'm imagining right now for ReWhite is he's able to avoid some of the damages and go for the mineral line. Actually able to take out that tank. Might be able to take out the medevac. Not quite. But it's kind of a moot point here, because the other tank pulls up, and so does the rest of the army.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm impressed that ReWhite was able to kill the tank at least, but he needs more than that, and I feel like this is a little bit too late. The War Prism is on the way, and we see why. ReWhite is in a desperate situation. He is going for DTs. Ugh.
Well, when behind, as they say. And ReWhite is slowly clawing his way back into this game. Time hasn't gone for a third base yet, but that, I think, is even more worrisome if you're ReWhite.
Exactly, like, +1 is halfway done, Stim is about to finish up, Combat Shield is on the way. Like, once everything does complete here, 4 time is going to be zooming across the map, and I don't know if ReWhite will have enough to stop him. DTs will be a nice answer to that, but ugh.
Look at that. Time even thinking, what's the one way I can lose this game? DTs. I should throw down some missile turrets, shouldn't I? Get some detection.
His brain is just so big. The War Prism is going across the map. By the time it does get across the map, like, we will have some DTs come into play. There is a world where maybe they can kill the missile turret in time. Maybe they can snipe some add-ons. At least keep time back at home. Oh, as he's moving out.
Time just cannot be constrained. Now, ReWhite will see this as observer. Might be able to get something ready with maybe some defensive DTs. Trying to slow down his push as best as possible. Decent use of the blink.
Oh, exactly.
But Time really doesn't sacrifice much.
He doesn't. Unfortunately, nothing was picked off. Meanwhile, the DTs are sneaking in. They do get into the mineral line. Sure, there is detection, but there are only SCVs to defend, so damage is being done in both bases.
Yeah, not a whole lot of room here for Time to maneuver around, but he is more than willing to give up his SCVs. He knows he can end this, and he's going to try to.
Yeah, that he is. Meanwhile, the Cyclone does get picked off. We do have Overcharge being popped here to keep the Immortal alive, but how much longer as it does get focused down?
GG is called, and Time, to no surprise, takes game number 1. I feel like the only way Time could have really put the cherry on top of that win is if he pulled the boys with his push. The DTs come down and there's nothing to kill, but yeah, in the end, very solidly executed from Time.
Yeah, very much so, very much so. What I will say is that, I mean, you know, ReWhite, he did do a fairly good job, like, afterwards, you know, dealing some damage, slowing some things down. DTs were also getting worker kills. It's just the initial defense, right? Those Hellions basically one-timed the game.
Yeah, pretty much. Ball was already in his court, and he just kept it there for the rest of the game. I have a little bit of a fun fact for you, Light. And this is why Time is one of my favorite Terran players ever. He only made 48 SCVs that game.
You're like, oh, man, for my own heart. Man.
Yes! Sipping coffee, man.
Shaking my head, mate. Shaking my head.
Although I think coffee does produce more workers nowadays, unfortunately.
Unfortunately. Oh, God. As we are just getting set up for the next game here, and oh boy, is there a world where maybe ReWhite can bring this back, mate? Is it possible?
Yeah. PvT.
True. That's the thing, right? Like, we saw Time being the aggressor, which makes sense, right? Like, he's the favorite player. He has the room to do so. But maybe it's time for ReWhite to, you know, turn some things up, you know?
Yeah. I wonder what he has in store for us here. Obviously, I'm thinking along the lines of some kind of a proxy being thrown down. Maybe a bit of an all-in, if he feels that. We are going to be loading into Lightshade, which is a fantastic map for those sort of builds. Very short rush distance, but at the same time, will Time be bamboozled? Will Paynon be bamboozled?
That's going to be the question. That's going to be the question as we are diving straight into game number 2 here between these two players. Again, we always hope for an ace match here, and the best way to do it is for some juicy cheese. But I don't know if it's too obvious. We're loading into Lightshade, and we've seen time and time again proxy Stargate for Void Rays, right?
We have. I wonder if we'll end up. We're theorizing a lot on what ReWhite will proxy. I wonder if Time will pull a Uno reverse card on us.
You get like,
say, you know what?
Proxy Marauder.
I just want to get to the winners match. Proxy Marauder right in his base.
Oh god.
I would love that. But what either player does is to be determined as we load into Lightshade LE. We're in the top left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the top left-hand corner. We have the red Terran player coming out from the land of China. He is, without a doubt, the best player from the region, representing KZ Gaming, KZG. He is Mr. Lee Peinan. Time.
And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Lightshade LE, we have the Chinese Protoss player, the up and comer representing Team Starlight Twinkle. It is ReWhite. Time, I was joking, mate. I was oh god.
You were joking about it, but yeah, no. Unfortunately, he won't be doing the thing where he lifts the barracks into his opponent's base, but yeah, this is pretty close enough if you ask me.
Oh boy, here we go. Okay, thankfully Yuki does probe scout. He confirms, yo, Rax is missing. Where you are?
Oh,
Ballsy
ReWhite, he heard us. So watch him throw down a gateway there. I dare him to.
That would be amazing. I think he would die, but it would be amazing.
He would go out in the blaze of glory.
He really would. Oh god, obviously there's a lot of counter potential here, and yo, he's going towards that location. Okay, never mind. Regardless, you can use this as a warping point, but oh my, he's doing it. He's doing it. Okay, so a couple of things, right? Will he have enough at home to defend is what I'm concerned about. Thankfully, it's only one proxy Rax.
Yeah, I'm really surprised Time decided not to commit too hard on this. He is going for the Nexus block, which is something, I guess?
There's no Nexus, man.
But I feel like that, exactly, I feel like he's just poking the bear.
Exactly. Yeah, here we go. So the Reaper will be able to dive into the main base, and he will confirm, yo, there's only one pylon. Where is the second? And then alarms are going to be going off. Meanwhile, Time still hasn't scouted.
Well, he sees the second pylon in his base. Not the one with the gateway, but the one blocking his ramp, and that might cause Time to think, alright, well, I've sort of forced you into this. Little did he know.
Oh, that's the real question here. The Reaper does go down. It gets 2 workers. Meanwhile, ReWhite, no!
It's bringing the SCV there, but I think... but I'm not convinced Peinan has enough time to deal with this, depending on how well ReWhite can control everything.
Oh, you say that, but he does get us around on the Adept. The Adept taking a lot of damage, and it does get picked off before the shield batteries get up and running. A little bit of miscontrol there. We do have the Widow Mines coming out. The control has to be on point for ReWhite. He cannot allow that to happen again. He cannot allow this Stalker to get surrounded.
Yeah, unfortunately, the control has favored Time so far. Another Adept does make it across the map, though. The shield batteries have finished up. ReWhite looks like he's trying to get some friendly fire, but not quite there.
Ooh.
The probe goes down, though.
That's huge, mate.
It is massive. That is all of ReWhite's chances to inch closer and closer to the base.
Exactly, like he wanted to slowly leapfrog forward with his pylons, with his shield batteries, but unfortunately that's not going to happen. Meanwhile, the Zealot does get surrounded. It looks like it is going to go down. We do have a couple of Stalkers coming out. Sure, there's a bunker, but it's not in range to protect the mineral line.
I tell you what would be, though, the Cyclone.
True, Cyclone does get a lock on one of the Stalkers.
Landed Viking as well, just right some additional DPS. Cyclone is trying to get healed.
That he is.
Quite.
Yeah, the Widow Mine shot does go off. It does take down the Adept, but now we have 4 Stalkers. Everything's getting picked off one after the other. Cyclone gets another lock on, and it looks like he will get one of the Stalkers.
Yeah, unfortunately, ReWhite just doesn't have Blink yet, but he's still able to take out that Cyclone. That is massive. GG is called. And ReWhite, otherwise known as Yuki, will be taking game number 2, bring us to the ace match. He's new Firefly. That might be too early to say, but I want him to be the new Firefly.
Took a game off of Time. Firefly confirmed, mate. Oh my god. GG. Well played. We have a series, boys. It's not clean. It's not pretty, but it's beautiful, mate. We're going to the ace match.
There is some beauty in the dirtiness. I just can't believe the proxy gateway worked.
I was so concerned. Like, bearing in mind, those shield ladders that were thrown down never even came into play. Because the fights were just never in range.
Yeah, a little bit towards the end, but I mean, that just kept an adept alive for about 2 seconds longer.
Yeah, exactly. The adept died to Widowmine anyway.
Pretty much.
Oh, God, but that was insane. Yeah, just like that. Yuki abusing the fact that the Rax was not at home, keeping that probe hidden for as long as possible, keeping that pylon hidden. GG. Well done, mate.
It was very decisive, wasn't it? The minute he saw, you don't have a Rax by a ramp. Uh-oh.
I know what to do. I love that response. Yeah. We don't see it too often because obviously the downside to a response like that is that, hey, if it gets scouted, it just gets shut down, right? And now suddenly it's difficult to expand because there's an NG block as well. There's Reapers across the map. Like, oof.
Yeah, thankfully that is a big if.
Definitely.
And just like that, we're getting to an ace match. I will say that there were also a couple of times that Time should have been able to defend, or could have defended, I would say, after you got the Cyclone out, once the Landed Viking came down, but one or two lapses, I suppose, in the micro really allowed ReWhite to take advantage of the situation.
That he did, and now it all goes to the ace match, and there's a world out there where ReWhite is able to take the series. Like, it's not like favored by any means. It's not like 100% or anything like that, but there's a chance. I
think he needs to live up to the banner he uses.
Oh,
MDTs.
Let's go.
As we conclude our first round here of Group A, over here on Oxide LE, we're in the top right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top right-hand corner. The blue Protest player coming out from the land of China. You may know him now as Yuki, but we know him as a player from Starlight Twinkle, ReWhite.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Oxide LE, we have the Chinese Terran player. He is red, representing Kai Z Gaming. It is time.
Now, unfortunately, it's not the case on this map, but I just want to point out that it is nice that Starlight Twinkle has a logo and everything now.
Yeah, it is really nice. It's cool because what happened, if I recall correctly, after some of their players got made it to the main event, that qualified their team to like actually have a Wikipedia page. They uploaded their logo and all that stuff. Like, yeah, their team is actually it's making some waves.
Yeah, that's part of the logos mod. I guess you wouldn't be able to see it in the decal, but you can see it on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, right by the nameplates.
Yeah, it's really cool that Starlight Twinkle is getting a little bit more recognition.
Really is. It completely didn't register for me that you could still see the logo, by the way. Because I've been using WCS 3.0 even after WCS 4.0 came out.
Shaking my head, mate.
I've been using that for so long.
Oh god.
I was like, I don't get it. What is this logos mod even doing? It's like, oh, you get to see the logos and the nameplate. And I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
What? And they're like, you need to not be using WCS 3.0 to do that. I'm like, right, I get ya.
That's why, like, I've completely switched everything to Pro 2020. That's basically
that's what it's called. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been calling it WCS 4.0, but I knew that wasn't the right name.
I mean, WCS isn't a thing anymore, so
it is.
God, it's been years, mate.
Yeah.
Stuck in the past, turning into steel modes. Back in my day, we had the World Championship Series, and we were happy.
Back in my day, we didn't even have nameplates. We just had a production tab at the top left, and that was it.
That's all we had, and we were happy.
We were happy.
Oh god. Speaking of being happy, I am unhappy because I was hoping that ReWhite would have the goal to go for a proxy in the ace match. I was hoping for it. But no, he's doing the sensible thing, which is, you know, playing a little bit more conservative, a little bit more standard. Likewise can be said for time.
Ish, yeah. I have some hopes that ReWhite is going to do something with that earlier Robo facility. There we go!
Yo, I was looking at it because he still didn't start blink. I was like, mate, something is wrong here, something is wrong. Let's zoom in and boom, we have the Dark Shrine opening.
Really living up to his banner in the ace match. Time already getting some vision around his base, but I don't think he has any detection other than scans for now.
Yeah, not quite. Meanwhile, the Reaper was denied entry into the main base. He's gonna try and slip in and the body blocking.
I think the Reaper will be able to get through. The Hellion as well. They see everything right on that ramp. There just wasn't enough damage on these two adepts.
I was like, yo, is the Reaper gonna get through? Is the Hellion gonna get through? Both of them got through, mate. Oh my god. Feels bad, man.
Now the Raven's already on its way. Time is saving a scan just in case.
Yeah.
Cyclone coming out to be even more conservative.
Exactly, and it's one of those things where ReWhite, he's well aware that he got scouted, so he can try and minimize his losses here. Obviously, he's committed to the Dark Shrine, and he has to try and find something done, but with good enough micro, he shouldn't lose these DTs, and he can always morph them into Archons.
Exactly. Best case scenario, he gets some damage from the Archon, so maybe even take on Raven if he's able to control well enough. But this Cyclone does get a lock on. Completely chases that Warp Prism away. There's one DT that's running on home. You are meant to go into the natural base, my friend. It's like, no!
Take me with you.
I want my mom.
He does back off, and he will be able to morph in these Archons. Again, it's not ideal. Without these DTs, he doesn't really get to scout the main base. He doesn't get to deal any economic damage. It is a big loss, but again, it's still potential. You know, it's not 100% loss. Not yet.
Yeah, never underestimate Warp Prism juggling. Especially when you have a unit as beefy as an Archon that also does splash damage.
Yeah.
It'll take a while, but a lot of damage can be done by just one Archon in Warp Prism.
Yeah, meanwhile, yo, this Cyclone is trying to hunt down the Warp Prism, by the way. Yo, he's gonna get a lock on. He's gonna... Jesus Christ. Time is just ruthless with this Raven and Cyclone. Thankfully, he does get forced away. Behind this, ReWhite is getting his second base up and running. Ooh. And he has opted, third base, and he's opted to skip Blink and going straight into charge.
It's a bit of a gambit for ReWhite, but I also think that this is the only thing he can really hope for. He expands right now. He knows how aggressive Time likes to play. He knows Time is going to push him.
Yeah.
Expanding now is a little bit of a risk, but at the same time, if he doesn't, then he is going to be putting himself behind for the rest of the game. Best case scenario, once this third base finishes up, he gets a couple of shield batteries, he's able to really defend over there, and yeah, then he gets a little bit of a lead going into the mid game.
Yeah, definitely. Like, that is going to be the hope. He already has one shield battery. He's going to need a couple more. He has to be careful not to lose this Warp Prism as well, as the Marines are moving out. Thankfully, he does notice.
Yeah, hopefully he's able to fortify that base a lot better. Immortals are coming out. More Archons join the fray. Not too many gateway units to buffer, though, and that could be worrisome.
Yeah, we need to wait for another warp in here for ReWhite. He is looking to try and flank this army with those Archons. Is it going to be enough? We do see the table on the first Archon.
And that's basically the only damage shielding unit that ReWhite has in this position. It's looking to get focused down. It doesn't quite. Archons and Zealots trying to come in from the back. Battery overcharge not going to be enough. An Archon fell when it was inside the Warp Prism, and the other one followed not long after. GG is called, and Time will be taking that series 2-1.
GG.